I'm going to read you one more thing from my brother, okay? And I've tried to read this a couple of times, so if I don't make through it, just bear with me. To my sister Barbara, my nephews and nieces, and other friends and family, today is probably one of the hardest days you have had since that fateful day back in December. Cindy was taken from us way too early, and I know that it was hard on all of us. Carl, Raymond, and Catherine, I know what it's like to lose a parent, a grandparent, and even an aunt. But what I don't know is what it's like to lose one's mother. To Logan, Penelope, Kaylee, William, remember that your grandmother always loved and cared for you. To Brandy, Crystal, Jessica, Zaylee, Cadence, Paisley, and Michael, your aunt loved you more than you will ever know. Brandy, Crystal, and Catherine, don't ever forget the sleepovers at Cindy's and the fun you had staying up late and getting your hair done up in curls like grown-ups. Jessica, don't forget the train ride you took by yourself to see Aunt Cindy in Arkansas, or the things you did with her and Kevin down there. Also, it was there that you got the phone call that changed your life for the better. Never forget the clown's name she gave you, Tagalong. Barbara, I know you didn't always see eye to eye with Cindy, but then again, that's not uncommon in families. What matters most is that you loved each other, and she would tell you how proud she is that it has been 193 days today since you've stopped smoking. She would tell you to keep it up and to never give in to that temptation ever again. Kevin Jaco, I remember you and Cindy being together in the late 70s, early 80s, and then going your separate ways. I believe my dad had something to do with it. Both of you got married and had children later on in life and found each other again on August 13th, 2010. I had the privilege to perform your wedding. You brought joy back into her life. She loved the motorcycle and would rather take a ride on it than be stuck in a cage, a car as she would call it. You were a great husband to my sister. You loved her, cared for her, encouraged her to be her best, and supported her until death separated you. I will always be thankful that she had you in her life. Cindy took the time to be a mother-like figure to a lot of kids in the neighborhood, and many of them called her mom. These kids sometimes would even tell her things that they wouldn't tell her own parents. I want you to know that I have prayed for you all and have asked God numerous times to hold you close and help ease your pain. Matt Hayes and Derek, I know you're not family, but Cindy treated you like her own son, and sometimes I believe you guys got away with more because of that. I wish I could be with you all today, but because of some health issues, I'm no longer traveling long distance. Here's a note from one of Cindy's friends, a childhood friend that lived in Oklahoma. My name is Lisa Carter Gibson, and I grew up right next door to Cindy's grandparents. As a child growing up, I would see Cindy, Barbara, and Stephen every summer when they came to visit their grandparents. I made friends with Cindy. She was my age. I thought her speech sounded funny. It was because she was from Illinois, and I'm sure my Okie slang sounded funny to her. We didn't get as much time to play as I would like because I had to share her with her grandparents, and they had activities planned. Cindy would come down white-skinned and go back home red and sunburned. I was always so sad to see her leave and head back to home. It seemed the 2 weeks would go by so fast. One summer after Cindy left, I was given a Siamese cat, which I named Cindy. That cat and I did just about everything together as I looked forward to the next summer visit. After her grandparents died, I lost touch with her until I found Stephen on Facebook and rekindled with them. I had the opportunity to talk to Cindy on the phone, a phone call I will never forget. It was the first time in 35 years we had talked, and it seemed as if we have never missed a day. We talked for over an hour and got caught up. It was also the last time we talked. When I received the call from Stephen about Cindy having COVID, I immediately began to pray. Lord, you know I want to go visit her, and I'm going to make that trip to see her again. So please, Lord, heal her from this COVID and make her well. After a few days, Stephen called and to tell me that she didn't make it and that she had passed into heaven. I bawled and bawled. I had just found my childhood friend, and now she's gone. I didn't get to see her. I didn't get to hug her, but I did get to talk to her. I never thought it would be the last time. I'm so thankful for that call. The Lord had different plans for Cindy, and one day I will make that trip and I will see her again. Cynthia, Cindy Friels was my childhood friend and will remain in my heart until I see her in heaven. And our childhood friendship will live on forever. God bless each one of her family members and friends. For knowing Cindy, it has made our lives more beautiful. I love you, Cindy. So glad we talked so long on the phone. Your voice still has that Illinois accent. I loved my sister a lot. Yes, like siblings, we didn't always see eye to eye. We yelled at each other. We argued and fought about things. Sometimes we argued about something just to have something to argue about. Yes, sometimes we were even mad at each other, but in the end, we always loved each other. We helped and encouraged each other the best that we could. There's a million of memories that I have, but I will only list two. Cindy was extremely instrumental in my first kiss for a girl that was not a family member. I was 8 years old, and her friend Robin was 13. That was the first of many kisses that we had until her and Cindy had an argument. See, Kathy, I have always had a thing for older women. The second was the joy of seeing her over the moon happy when I performed the wedding ceremony for her and Kevin. Cindy, you may be gone, but the memories that I have of the two of us will never be forgotten. 6 years ago, I spoke at a celebration of life service for a friend of mine, Gary Gribble. He was a good friend to Cindy's, Barbara, and me. He was also a person that liked to say things and pull some awesome pranks in his day. One of those was with Cindy. When he was 12 to 13 years old and Cindy was either 16 or 17 years old, I remember him telling her that he was going to give her a golden screw someday. I remember her blushing and laughing at him, but sometime later he handed her an actual golden screw. Now you might not think too much about that, and even why it is important enough for me to bring it up today, but let me tell you why it is important. My sister held on to that screw, and the last I knew, she still had it. She even mentioned it every now and then and made sure I told the people at Gary's celebration about it. That screw had no significant value to anyone except her. To her, that screw meant friendship. To her, that meant that somebody cared about her. When she was down, she would look at it and it would bring laughter to her. It reminded her of the simple times when things weren't so stressful. It also reminded her to keep things funny in life. We also saw how she did that by becoming a clown and bringing laughter to a lot of kids and even some adults. I read from the Bible, Psalms 34:18. The Lord is near the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit. 1 Peter 5:7. Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you. Ecclesiastes. Thank you. 3:1-8. For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to turn away, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to hate, and a time for war and a time for peace. Did you notice that the above scripture states that God is near the brokenhearted and crushed in spirit? That he cares for us, that there is a time for everything. The question is do you believe that? Let me talk about the dash that's between the date Let me talk about the dash that is between your date of birth and death. For some of us, that dash will only represent a short time, and for others, a much longer time. Only God knows how long that dash will represent. For Cindy, that dash was 59 years, 9 months, and 19 days. That dash represents your time to make a lasting impression, change in this world, either good or bad. My question to those that were there the day was, what are you doing with your dash? The question is still relevant today. What are you doing with your dash that will leave a positive impression, change, after you're gone? I leave you with the words to this song by Laura Daigle titled Trust in You. You can find it on YouTube. Here are the words. Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wandering never changes what you see. I've tried to win this war, I confess. My hands are weary, I need to rest. Mighty warrior, king of flight, no matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I needed you to move. When you don't part the waves, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust in you. Truth is, you know what tomorrow brings. There's nothing a day ahead you have not seen. So in all things be life and breathe. I want what you want, Lord, and nothing else. When you don't move mountains, I needed you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust in you. You are my strength and my comforter. You are my steady hand. You are my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand. Your ways are always higher. Your plans are always good. There's not a place where I'll go. You have not already stood. When you don't move the mountains, I've needed you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust in you.